just hours after President Bola Tinubu directed investigation to ascertain the allegation that Betta Edu made payment of $585 million into a private account against Nigeria's financial laws. The president has suspended the minister following widespread anger over the alleged $585 million scandal. The suspension was revealed in a statement issued by Special Advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Ajuru Ngilali. He said it was in line with President Tinubu's avowed commitment to uphold the highest standards of integrity, transparency, and accountability in the management of the Commonwealth of Nigerians. The minister had claimed that the $585 million payments was meant for vulnerable groups in Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Ogun, and Lagos State, describing the allegations against her as baseless. Joining us now on the morning show to discuss the minister's suspension and if it will serve as a deterrent to public office holders under this government is Felix Morka, National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressive Congress. Welcome to the morning show. And
Thank you very much.
Good to see you in Lagos.
Yes, good to be in Lagos, my home base.
And to have you face to face. But real quickly, a lot of people say this is an indictment on your party that came in that said they were going to fight corruption. But your party and this government set up by your party, the government, that came in through your party's platform has become stinking with this excreta of corruption. A couple of days ago, it was Madam Shehu, that said, based on confession, there were transfers made of over 40 billion at a time that your party is telling us to cut our coats. Secondly, now in the case of Betta Edu. Thirdly, ancillary positions around another Minister of Interior, which we call the star boy of your administration. But we are shell-shocked at the fact that his company, where he is a shareholder, is collecting governmental contracts and the cabinet that he serves in. Your party smells. What do you say to that?
Thank you so much, Rufai.
Yes, sir.
No, the All Progressives Congress does not smell, and there's no stench.
Good.
Because if you say that there is, then what you're saying really is that your expectation is that the human beings, Nigerians who populate the party, who are also members of other parties, are people who will live without fault, without their own agency, human agency, without their own ability to think and act for themselves. You are expecting superhumans to be members of the APC, and therefore people who are above, who are infallible, who are above reproach, who will do no wrong. That is not the standard of any democracy or any political party, because people populate the parties. Just like your staff who work here, they may be members of the APC or the PDP or Labour Party or whatever party for that matter. But Rufai, the problem is not, and the question is not whether people do wrong, because when they want to do wrong, they by themselves choose to do wrong or do things that appear to be wrong. There's no mechanism available for a party to modulate human conduct. You can set standards and actually set parameters for imposing consequences when those actions are taken. That is what this president has done. Now, if you're sitting here saying the allegations, people are talking about this, and the party and the government is calm, doing nothing about it, then we can be having a conversation. But not whether people choose to do what they do, because that's beyond the control of the president. But the question here is, has the president responded as expected in a democracy? Yes, he swiftly responded to the allegations or the appearance that something wrong was done. By the way, he responded also in the way that he was required to respond under the law. Because, Betta and all of these people you just mentioned, none of them has passed through any kind of legal or judicial scrutiny to justify the conclusion that was the premise of your question. They have not. And you can't taint anyone. Just to finish that thought.
Okay, finish the thought and I'll rebut.
Absolutely. Just to finish that thought. You don't taint anyone with guilt who has not passed through first an investigation and prosecution and actually, an adjudication of guilt. You don't. Because that's why the Constitution presumes everyone to be innocent until proven guilty. That's the constitutional standard. Now, the point I'm making here is that the president has done the right thing. He has suspended the minister in question. and has, set up a panel to carry out a thorough investigation, you know what? We must wait for that process to take its course and to reveal. And by the way, in the public space, I don't know where you get that, proof that monies were in fact paid out. What I know is that a memo was out, and there are suggestions that the minister, or rather, that the memo disclosed that the minister requested payment into that account. Okay. Whether the money was in fact paid, that is what the investigation is supposed to actually unearth.
So, Mr. Morka,
yes,
whether the money was paid, let me read something to you. The federal government financial regulations, personal money, 713, says personal money shall in no circumstance be paid into a government account, nor shall any public money be paid into private account. An officer who pays public money into private account is deemed to have done so with fraudulent intention. Good. The Office of the Attorney General said that this request was passed to them and they rebuffed it. The question I'm asking you in the first place is, why will a minister of a party like the APC that is ready to fight corruption, a minister that went through ministerial screening and also went through ministerial boot camp, even sign such a paper in the first place and push such a request? Were there no other checks and balances in her ministry that could inform her about how this negates the public laws on ground? Secondly, why will, and this is why I tell you your party stinks, why will a 7 ministers company be listed? Because the 7 minister, in case you don't know, came out on television to defend himself yesterday. That is no longer a director in the company, but he's a shareholder. Why will a 7 ministers that serve in the cabinet company be found to have his company that he's a shareholder to have done jobs for another ministry?
Okay, fine.
So that's why I say with this, your party stinks. Tell me your party doesn't stink.
Let me respond.
Yes,
please leave this language of what stinks and what doesn't stink. I don't want to get into that sub-moral conversation. I won't do that. But Rufai, like I said, the regulation you read out is a regulation of the Federal Republic. The question you framed around that regulation is the question that this panel that the president has set up was in fact set up to answer. Did it happen? How did it happen? Why did it happen? If it did. The answers to those questions will determine what the panel recommends in terms of, action on the point, actionable points going forward on this matter. So the point I'm making is that I don't think it's okay because you don't have any facts on what, the memo is there. I don't think anybody's disputing that. But why was the memo written? Was it appropriate? That is for, the minister involved to explain to this panel to their satisfaction. But if they don't, then that's where issues of culpability will arise. But we're not there yet. You can't fast track that process because, otherwise you simply slam everybody. I can point a finger at you and say you did something and then we throw you in jail. Okay. It doesn't work like that in a democracy. And as for, please, there's a second part of the question, madam. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
As for the reference to Tunji and all that, I watched Tunji on the show. He explained that as of 2019, when he got elected to the House, he resigned as a director. Now, Rufai, are you seriously saying that if people have investments in banks and in institutions, in businesses, as citizens who want to invest their money, that as soon as they get appointed to become minister, they are supposed to have that company that they are shareholders, for example, completely quit any kind of transactions or beneficial transactions with the government? Look, I stand to be educated, Rufai. If this is what happens elsewhere,
let me ask you,
please, discuss that.
Could he have put those shares in a trust?
Listen, mechanism. See, even if it's Rufai, please wait. That's not the way it works. If the individual chooses to put his investments in a trust for whose benefit? If ultimately it's for the benefit of his children or his family or his nominated beneficiary, he is still indirectly the beneficiary. So your point is completely not valid.
Would he have gotten
it's not
that
a valid point you're
contract
making.
if he was not serving in that cabinet?
Look, other companies that got contracts where do they have ministers serving in the cabinet?
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a self-defeating question you're asking.
All right.
Because the other people there, there was no. I mean, there were many companies, I'm sure, that
Morka
also got contracts.
Okay.
Are they all, with ministers in the cabinet? No, that's not the criteria. Not the criteria.
All right, Mr. Morka, first of all, just a few things you've said, and I'd like you to give a bit more clarity. The first is that you talk about a swift response. Some people might say it wasn't swift, because what we had expected on Monday morning was to hear that either a resignation from the minister's part or a suspension, because you didn't need a public outcry before an announcement was made later on in the day. We had a thorough conversation, so I'd want to know what was the difference. Why the same, and nothing changed from the morning till when people came out and they talked. Hold on, because I wanted to, just your word of swift response.
Yes.
Following a public outcry, the government moved. And it seems to be a characteristic of the administration. Until there's an unveiling and then people talk about it, then there's an issue around that. Under this administration, from your party, we had the Senate President talk about giving prayers to members over Christmas. When you talk about transparency in your party, nothing was said about that. It was just swept under the carpet. Under this administration, we had a minister who was a serving NYSC member who also served as a minister, and nothing still has been done about that. So I'm just saying that this is not an isolated case when we talk about the fighting anti-corruption under this administration, especially as members who are culpable are members of the APC. So it's difficult to imagine that the APC is the bastion of anti-corruption when you have members, who are caught up in this infraction. Don't forget that the previous administration was also an APC-led government where we had the 44 billion naira under this same Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs said to be diverted. So these are questions that Nigerians want to understand. Why should we trust your party if all these are happening under the same party? And just to bring up the point of Mr. Olumide Tunji-Ojo, going onto the website, because I asked a question earlier as to what are the services that this New Planet Project Limited offer. And actually, all their clients are government agencies. So they have Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, they have National Film and Video Censors Board, they have National Commission. So no, I can't see any private organization. Most of government, they have Nigeria's Sovereign Investment Authority. So I don't understand. Is it that they only service government agencies as an organization? Was it an organization created to service government agencies? Just a little look. They do a number of things: consultancy, training, events, and so events are things many people can do. So it brings into question the integrity of the process of awarding that contract. And finally, let me say, in terms of that memo that was sent out, the minister sort of indicted herself because she justified the reason why she sent out that memo. She said because people do it, and you can give when it comes to a project, you can send money to a private account to get it disbursed. So she already said that she sent that memo. We don't need an investigation for that. She already justified that process. So just for you to respond, thanks.
Okay. First, let me start with one of the last questions you asked about the company. Yeah. Okay, I speak for the party. I'm Felix Morka. I speak for the APC. I don't speak for private companies, and I don't know in your reference why you say that the bulk of their contracts.
No, it's on their website.
No, that's fine. That may be true. I have not, seen the website, and I don't. Even if I saw it, I can't comment on that. But just to say that again, there's nothing illegal about a company that simply does business with government entities. It's not, illegal. As a matter of fact, everywhere in the world, there are companies that actually have their services, sort of framed and customized to serve public institutions. There are companies like that define their core business as such. So that's for them to discuss and respond to. In terms of the timeline, I don't think, we're talking about the President of the Federal Republic. You don't expect that every act that happens in ministry is actually something that is mirrored in terms of reflection in the presidency, that there's a board where the president sees everything happening in every ministry simultaneously. That's not the case. When there's a problem, that problem works its way up. Then there are channels of information, of vetting and filtering, to actually present information to the president for his assessment and decision. It takes, time for that to happen. So I don't think that a timeline that you are talking about is less swift because people discussed it. People will discuss it first. Even things that don't matter, people discuss it before it comes for proper because it becomes seized, if you will, by the appropriate authorities for assessment and for response. My point, and I insist, that the president responded as swiftly as can be on this matter and responded appropriately on this matter. That, I think, is beyond question. And the other reference you made to what happened in the previous administration and all of that.
And this administration.
And this administration, you referenced you talked about what was that?
The Senate presidency and
the Senate presidency prayers and all
yes.
that. Look, if you, as a citizen, you have the right to ask the Senate president to explain what he meant if he used the word prayers. You can do that. And he is obliged to respond to you within his own remit of rights and obligations.
I'm not talking about him today. But I just wanted to bring that because they're all members of your party.
I understand.
And you're saying that the APC is transparent. So I just wanted to bring up some issues.
Transparency
in the past
of a party, of a government, does not mean that somebody will not do something that is wrong. I want to just get that clear. Okay. Because, you frame
there's
this...
so many. We have the COP28,
let me just say, let me finish this.
Okay.
Transparency is not coterminous with, it will never happen or it never happens. That is not the democratic standard. So you're focusing on the wrong parameter, quite frankly. What you should be focusing on is when it becomes an issue that presents itself for conversation and scrutiny, what is done about it? And the point I'm making is that whether it's on the first suspension that the president issued on this social investment program or that of the minister, I am saying that the president has been very quick and actually very swift in his response to those matters.
The president has not been. We remember the Minister of Culture. It was said during this process that went on that heralded that screening that she had not completed her NYSC.
Yes.
And you know what the law says as regards not completing your NYSC. And she still went ahead and she served as minister and nothing happened. I think probably now she's completed her NYSC. It showed that this government, your government, the APC government, didn't do its due diligence. Let me also excite you with this. You think your party doesn't stink? Okay, if you say so. The former NSIPA boss, that's Halima Shehu I'm talking about, allegedly transferred funds to some individual accounts and companies through some commercial bank without any approval. And that's a pattern with your party and your government. From the president, or the Federal Executive Council, and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. No approval. That's how things roll. She just transferred funds like that. And you know how much we're talking about? 44.8 billion on spent funds.
Please, Rufai.
That's your APC.
Rufai, please wait.
Hang on a minute. Let me also excite you on this. I want to excite you this morning. Good morning to you. Public officials have a duty to disclose their interest in company doing business with government where they serve. Do you believe that? And you're saying you do not care, if they serve with governments, and they serve with government, and this man is sitting in a cabinet, and is getting contract, and he didn't disclose all this? Where is the full disclosure in your party?
Rufai.
Yes, sir.
Who told you that there were no disclosures?
Do you
have, on what authority do you make these statements, Rufai? That's
okay.
Look,
No, I have an authority. Let me tell you.
Please.
Let me tell you. The minister,
Rufai,
was on television yesterday. He said he resigned his directorship. All right.
Yes.
You could drink some water, sir. He resigned his directorship from the company in 2019 when he got into politics, but he remained a shareholder. Did he disclose to us that he was a shareholder in this company
Rufai,
when he went?
Disclose to you in your capacity as what? It's not don't speak in this language. Disclose to us. If there are filings,
us as the people.
No, hang on. If there are filings to be done, the question you should be asking is whether this minister filed papers with the right authorities. As you sit here, Rufai, you don't know that. You're speculating. And you say, look,
No, I know that. I'm giving you the facts.
No.
I said he resigned his directorship in 2019.
Please hang on.
But he didn't stop being a shareholder.
Rufai, hang on. You see.
Yes, sir.
Rufai, you know me.
I know you very well.
I like us to have a conversation.
Good.
So that as you ask your question, I also want to be able to respond. Fact is, you are basing a lot of what you've said on pure speculation. I say that without fear of contradiction.
But the minister said this yesterday.
I'm coming.
Okay, go ahead.
I know that yesterday when he was on that show, he gave whatever CAC filings he had where he resigned as director to
but he never spoke to the shareholder.
You see, again, that is something you have to discuss with the minister about the details of what he did or didn't do. That's not my brief. But the point I'm making is that there's a reason that the president has empaneled a committee to carry out this investigation at that high level by the coordinating minister of the economy and minister of finance. That is as high level as you can get to see what is going on. And if there are other, tangential or ancillary matters that arise in the course of that investigation, I am quite sure that all of that will be brought into a coherent report or narrative. But the point I'm making is that this idea that your party stinks because somebody appears to have done wrong or even has done wrong, assuming any one of these cases are proven to actually have breached regulation and standards, even if that were the case, Rufai, it still doesn't give you the right to suggest that the party stinks, because
are these people members of the PDP?
Rufai, please hang on.
Are they members of the PDP?
Rufai, hang on.
Are they card-carrying members of the PDP?
There is no party, including institutions like Arise TV, where you don't have malfeasance and have things going wrong. Nduka Bagbena is my brother from Delta State. I can call him on phone now and ask him whether he has ever had reason to discipline or had the management discipline anybody, here on Arise TV for doing things that are outside of, procedure. Is Arise TV above board? So the party is not above board, neither is Arise TV, nor any other party or institution in this world. So when you suggest that APC stinks because somebody, I'm coming, somebody without conclusive evidence, without investigation, without any report or finding, or even prosecution or a finding of guilt, the party stinks. I take strong exception to that.
So, Mr. Morka,
that's unfair and it's wrong.
Your job is to take strong exceptions to it when I say the party stinks. I, as a journalist, is to constantly tell you, hang on a minute, let me finish.
You can justify.
As a journalist,
when you say that, you must justify. You don't just throw words around
Mr. Morka,
and expect it to stick.
Mr. Morka,
you shouldn't.
Let me speak.
That's not the standard of journalism.
I, as a journalist, I am to constantly tell you your party stinks, and I'm giving you facts. Take, for instance,
give the facts and leave that opinion. That's your personal opinion.
Okay, so
and it's irrelevant to anybody.
So hang on a minute.
Irrelevant.
The culture minister.
Yes.
The case of the culture minister.
Yes.
That didn't get NYSC, went through your screening process from the government of your party again, and nothing was done about it, and now she serves like nothing happened.
What about it? What's your point?
So that's not wrong for an NYSC member to hold a ministerial position?
Rufai,
it's not wrong?
Listen, Rufai.
It's not wrong?
Rufai.
Yes.
You want to have that conversation?
I want to have it with you.
You want to have the conversation?
Yes.
So what is your question about that?
So my question is it right that somebody that is supposed to be serving the NYSC served as minister in this country and nothing was done about it? Is it not against the NYSC laws that say you must not serve in any other place as an NYSC member?
Actually, again, I am not speaking for the minister. No, hang on.
But she's in your party.
Listen.
She's in
your
party.
You ask a question, then let me answer it.
Yes.
And you don't guide me as to how I answer a question you have asked. The minister is a minister of the Federal Republic appointed by an APC-led government. At the time of her appointment, as I understand it, this minister was serving as a national youth corper. Rufai, youth corpers in Nigeria, do you know, have you ever heard of any youth corper who is assigned to serve with the government or any institution of the government? Have you? Why do you ask this question like it's such a strange phenomenon?
So it's not a big deal.
Hang on. So Rufai, you wanted an answer. Let me answer you, please. This minister was already registered and was in the process of service at the time she was appointed minister. Youth corpers serve with the Central Bank of Nigeria. Youth corpers are legitimate federal, youth who are serving, who by statute, who have a mandatory, year of service. They are deployable to, please, I must finish this.
When you finish,
yes, I must finish.
Yeah.
They are deployable to any institution, including the presidency, including the ministry.
So advice of primary assignment was the Ministry of Culture.
If the president decided to take a youth corps today, because of whatever reason, in his prerogative as president, to appoint that person to any office, the president has the authority to do so, and that individual already is in the frame of service to the country.
So it's the only difference is they didn't discover when your ministerial screening went on that she was doing this.
Now you are moving a different point.
So that's part of the
rest this matter and fine. That's not the valid point you're making. It's not.
So more common.
Very briefly, because we're out of time.
Sure.
What is the internal process? So what is the policy, policy in the APC? Because we want a strong institution. We are all here because we want the country to move forward and to fight corruption.
Absolutely.
What is the internal procedure for members of your party who are found culpable of perhaps corrupt activities if found guilty following an investigation? What is the internal procedure?
Of party members?
Yeah.
No, see, if that party member is an appointee of the government, the party does not exercise any disciplinary authority, apart from that of the appointing authority. If it's an appointee of the president has the prerogative and the power to hire and fire. So everything concerning the appointment or discipline of that public officer belongs to the president, irrespective of whether that person is a member of the party. Party does not...
She's a member of your party. She was a former national women's leader.
No, she's a member of APC, quite all right.
Yeah.
My point is that the party does not invoke its own constitutional disciplinary process against a party member who is an appointee of the president, because whatever they do wrong, they've done wrong in the course of their appointment with the president. Therefore, the president has the authority to discipline that individual if the occasion or the need arises. So it's not one that the president is acting and the party also has to invoke its internal mechanism.
I'm not saying generally, because I mentioned a few cases of, just so that we see that the APC is very serious about fighting corruption.
Madam, just to be clear on this.
Yeah, very quickly, we'll have to go.
Yes, to be clear on this. The party, under the leadership of our national chairman, Ganduje, we're not playing. We're taking things very seriously.
Any examples?
Now, I won't call individual names because some of these mechanisms, may or may not be public.
Has anyone been punished for corruption?
People are punished routinely.
What kind of punishment?
At all levels,
what kind
from
of
the
punishment?
local, national. People are punished with suspension from the party. They're punished with even expulsion from the party.
We haven't heard of any.
No.
We have to go now.
No,
we haven't heard of any.
Juba, for instance, is a perfect example of a high-level individual who was expelled for gross misconduct.
Thank you
as a
so
party
much.
Person.
Quickly.
Thank you.
One word answer. Is the party disappointed in Betta Edu?
Listen, that's a very premature question. What Betta Edu is now under investigation.
Is the party proud of her?
For their allegations. The party doesn't have to be proud or disappointed.
We
are simply going to monitor the process to its conclusion.
Thank you, Mr. Felix Morka, National Publicity Secretary of the APC.